Hey guys, welcome to Miners Must Die. This is a video for the Pilgrim Ninja Guide, or Ninja Pilgrim Guide. I'm not sure which one I'm going to go with. But basically this is all of my videos where I at least started out fighting miners put together into one long video. So it's lots of videos put together. This one right here, I'm in DUV. It's a side system off the system that I was kind of living in for a short while. I just went there to basically harass this group, demoralize them, cause as much trouble as possible just to prove the concept of the Ninja Pilgrim. You can see that this was early on because I'm still in the armor fit. But the armor fit's pretty good. It's not a bad fit. I just like the shield fit better, as you've heard me say a million times. So, I jump into EF and there's a Hulk there. I probably should explain how that happened. What happened is DUV is where they mine, EF is where they live. So typically I would jump into DUV, warp to an anomaly, cross warp across the Hulk or the Miazimos or whatever other ships, and they would immediately warp to the gate and jump out. I caught them doing this a couple times, and so I eventually started to catch on and actually plan my tactics around jumping in and pretending to warp, but really just waiting for them. In this case, I think I warped off and warped back, caught me a Hulk. So a pretty good snag. Let's see what happens. Got the hammerheads out. Those are my high DPS drones. In the case of a Hulk, I'm not really sure of his resist profile, so just go with the high DPS drones. You don't really need anything too special. I typically default to the infiltrators, but in this case, there's so many local high DPS. Let's just drop this Hulk really quick. Try to conserve capacitor, keep my cap full in case something goes wrong. He's going down. I only had 1 point, so I couldn't catch the hauler. And the Hulk goes down. So I immediately align. It's best to always be aligned when you can. And there's a coveter, so whoa, that guy was holding the cloak. I didn't even know he was there. Let's go after him. And he truly did surprise me when this happened. I did not expect the coveter to uncloak. So I got my first cycle overloaded on my point just to make sure I would get that point to snag him. I don't know why I'm neuting the pod. That was a mess up. And then the coveter, same as the Hulk. Just sit there and wait and take him down. The hammerheads are going to take a little while to drop him. I need to be watching my direction a little better, saving newts. It's not going to take much newts to kill a mining barge. Watching directional. The longer I'm on this gate, the more danger there is with them calling buddies and people forming up and undocking. It's best to always try to get pods. Very often the pods are worth more than the ships. So it looks pretty safe. I'm going to go ahead and cloak up anyway. I've got my drones back in. Going to pull up the kills. See how valuable they were. Not bad. 156 mil and 43 mil. So there's 200 mil in damage I just did to those guys. That's demoralizing. Watching my directional as I approach the wreck to go loot it. Typically what I'd also do here is I call it scorched earth warfare, is to deny them their loot and salvage. Once I'm done looting, if there's nothing I want or maybe I can't take it, I just blow it up. So I'd blow up their wrecks very often, if not the majority of the time. I would kill their wrecks. I'm going to fast forward this just a little bit. A little bit more. See, here I am blowing up the wreck. I'm going to loot it first, then I'll blow it up. I'm shocked they haven't come out yet. That's not worth all that much, but I'll try to take it. There we go. Nope. Check directional. Check directional. I should be a lot more focused on the directional scanner here. That's a mistake. You see, I am at least focusing in on my warp 2s, the things I can warp to if I need to. And I'm back cloaked, so I'm safe again. I'll skip forward just a little bit. And here's the revenge. So the guy that's probably the owner of one of those ships and he came back to loot. So he's trying to loot his own wreck, being a little greedy there. So I'm going to kill his thorax. That's exactly what he came to do. He should have just stayed ducked. But now he's going to lose a thorax. Now this is, see what, a lot of people ask me, why do I kill miners? Aren't you above killing miners? I've heard that several times. No, I'm not above killing miners. I'm absolutely not. I will kill everything that I see, not only because that's just the way the game is and that's the way the game should be played, but because when you kill a miner, you often get a thorax and a brutix. As we see now, here's the brutix. We get an escalation, and that's what you want, is an escalation so you can get more kills. Unfortunately, that is a rail brutix. I need to get a tracking disruptor on him quick because he was doing decent damage. I got the tracking disruptor on him, and his damage completely stopped. So that's a good thing. I've got control of the situation as it is right now, but I need to drop that thorax relatively quick before anything else shows up on the field. Start out with a Hulk, then a Coveter, then a thorax, and a brutix. Come on, get the thorax. Here comes a Tormentor and a Tyrannus. That's not a big threat. I can drop those real fast. Need to kill the thorax and then primary the Tyrannus. Kill the thorax first, though. Come on, thorax, die fast, please. Let's get a noodle on that Tyrannus. I don't want him webbing me. No, don't put the drones. Oh, that was a mistake. I should have finished the thorax. What are you doing? Oh, and then I changed my mind. Being indecisive like that is absolutely terrible. It's because I did that, because I was indecisive, the Tyrannus got away when I could have killed the Tyrannus. But I've still got control of the situation. I haven't even gotten into armor yet. The Tormentor's going to drop really easy. I'm trying to just keep the brutix out of the fight. And the way I'm keeping the brutix out of the fight right here is I'm not only keeping a tracking disruptor on him so he can't hurt me, but I'm also managing my range from him and trying to stay at a decent range so that he can't get any scrams or webs or anything like that on me. I'm keeping him within grasp. So when I want to, I can go back in on him should the field be clear enough, because it's going to take a while to drop a brutix. And also another thing that's probably not optimal here is the fact that I'm using hammerheads to kill a frigate. It works, and it works fast once they slow down. But the warriors would have done it a little bit faster, I think, especially with the explosive damage against a Tormentor. Okay, there goes the Tormentor. Got the thorax, Tormentor, Coveter, Hulk. I should have got the Tyrannus had I not messed up. That's a lesson for me and you. Don't switch targets before the first target's dead. I could have just neutered out that Tyrannus and maybe put a tracking disruptor on him. Kept his DPS to a minimum. Alright, so now I'm going after the brutix. Brutix should have left the field. He's being a bit ballsy here. And now another thorax and a raven. Okay, so now it's, at this point, the battle's changed. So up until now, I was not under any real threat so long as I kept everything from getting on me at once. But now that there is a raven on the field with the brutix and with the thorax, things are a little bit different. And also, for some reason, I've gone in close on this brutix. That's a mistake. I don't know why I went in so close on that brutix. I probably should get a few cycles in my AR here. There we go. I don't want to over rep and waste my rep. So just a little bit here and there. Got to keep that cap up. See how much that cap's hurting. It's really struggling. The Raven changes it because the Raven can apply steady, even if it is somewhat low, steady DPS to me, non-stop throughout the fight, and constantly harass me. And now we have a Purifier as well that can do the same thing. I'm having to put 2 of my tracking disruptors on the brutix, which means I can't do much to stop that thorax. And now we've got a Saber. So at this point, and actually a little bit before this, because of the struggling capacitor that I'm having, the struggles with the capacitor, and because there's more and more landing on the field, and there's way more than I can really deal with right now, I've decided to disengage. So I'm aligned to something that's away from everybody else, and I'm steadily moving away. I see the Purifier. Anytime you see a stealth bomber come onto the fight, it's worth a shot to see if you can just dunk him real quick, because a lot of times they'll drop in a flash. And you can see right there as I warp out, Tower, Purifier, Curse, Saber, Raven, Tengu, Cinnabal, Thorax, Stabber Fleet issue. That's way too much for me to fight. Luckily it was all at range, and as a result, let's go back just a little bit. Everything's 30 to 50, so nothing's within point range, so that's pretty safe. The things that are on the field that worry me are the Cinnabal, because he's fast enough that he can stay with me pretty well, and it's going to take a Newt a little while to get rid of him. Same with the Stabber Fleet, but what really makes me not want to play with these guys is the Curse. Curse can do everything I can do, but better. So I don't want to mess with the Curse. It's time to leave. I got a lot of good kills there. What was it? It was the Tormentor, the Thorax, the Coveter, the Hulk. And I would have got the Brutix had not so much came, and I would have got the Tyrannus had I not switched targets right as the Thorax was about to die. But all in all, it's a good fight. Got lots of kills, and I got away. And so it's fights like this in somebody's home system where they mobilize their entire alliance against you, basically, and they can't stop you. They couldn't do anything to stop me. So they just lost a bunch of ships there and didn't do anything to me. Now I'm going to speed up just a little bit. There we go. And so here's the second video. As you can see, I am warping in on some miners. There's a Miasmos, a Myrmidon, a Mackinaw. You can also see on scan that there was more than that, but some of them have warped off. Looks like there was another Procure that warped off. 2 Procures. So when I come in, my first focus here is going to be, I'm worried about the Myrmidon, but you can see I'm holding cloak for as long as possible. If they're not trying to run, and I see no velocity, so there's no velocity over here, so if they're not trying to run, then I'm not really so worried about trying to rush in. It's better to get myself positioned well and to try to uncloak right on top of them if possible. And so what I did is I warped to something behind them, and I'm going to come back at range so that I land in a more optimal position. But when I go in, it's going to be, my biggest threat is the Myrmidon. Myrmidon has drones, so if he's a good Myrmidon, he's going to have a good set of mediums, maybe even a heavy or two, but at least a good set of mediums that he's going to put on me. And it's going to be enough DPS to where I'm going to have to constantly run my armor repair. And potentially he could come in and get maybe a Nas or a Newt and put a little bit of pressure on me like that. He's not a huge threat, but he is a threat. So he's the one that I want to put down first. So I'm not sure what I do here, but just thinking about it right now and the, being able to calmly think about it, I would go in right now if I was piloting the ship and I could take it over right now. And notice I uncloaked as I'm coming out of warp. That's very important, because that way you'll land and you'll lock instantly. So unless they hit that directional scanner in the last 2 seconds, they're not going to see you, and you're going to have the benefit of not having to wait that 6 seconds. The downside is if you didn't calculate your warp in perfectly, then you may not land as close to them as you wanted. And not quite as close as I had hoped, but that's probably going to do. Charge. You can see them starting to pick up some velocity. Now what I would do here, as I was saying before, is I would point the Mackinaw, because I believe that's the highest value ship on the field. Point the Mackinaw, stay in orbit on the Mackinaw, and then put all drones, all DPS, and newts on the Myrmidon. So that way you're forcing the Myrmidon off the field, or killing it, either way, and you're killing the Mackinaw. But I didn't do that. I went straight for the Mackinaw. Alright. So I'm gambling that the Myrmidon's not going to be a big threat. I'm putting 2 newts on him. I want to disable any kind of propulsion he has, any kind of scrams, webs, anything like that. So at least I can get rid of that. The Myrmidon, like a wuss, just completely runs away. Shocking. So my next priority is, now that I've locked down the Mackinaw, chased off their bodyguard, Myrmidon. My next priority is to kill the Mackinaw as quickly as possible, and then hurry and get the point on the Miasmos, so I can kill the Miasmos as well. Max down, pointed on the Miasmos. Massimo, whatever it is. And he drops real fast. I think he ejected, actually, before he died. It looked kind of like it. Now see if I can grab the pod. I'm pretty sure what happened there is that the Mac had his alt. He had 2 accounts going. So the hauler was his other account, and he was focused on getting his pod out on one account while the hauler was down on the other one. He didn't multitask very well. Got the pod. Loot the wreck. 13 million. Most valuable thing there is the internal force field array. That's always a nice find. It's like 9 million in the trade hubs. 8-9 million. I don't want any mining crystals, so kill the wreck. Scorched earth. Especially when you're trying to really upset a group and cause as much morale damage as possible. You want to blow up their wrecks. No salvage for you. No loot. You're not going to partially rebuild your ship from your loot. You want to make it as painful as possible for them. Like I've said before, I had no hard feelings against this group or J4LP that I also did it to. I lived in their system for a while. I had no hard feelings against them. It's just I wanted to prove the concept that you could do this and you could cause massive damage. One player could cause massive damage to another alliance. So by the title here, baited. You can see I have lined myself up on a skiff in a ice belt or ice anomaly. And once I got within 30k, I uncloaked thinking I'd be pretty sure to get the point, get into my orbit. Always best to stand off. You're going to see that in some of my lost videos where I get too close, and as a result of getting too close, I die. So whenever you can help it, it's better to stand off at about 20k. That way you avoid the potential for scrams, the potential for noses, newts, etc. They got combat probes out. That's kind of odd. Small concern. Skiff is very tanky. So whenever you see a skiff, you've got to consider maybe this is a trap. And there's a Procure. Now, Procure is not a trap. It's not bait. Procure is just an easy kill. I should not be running away. Instead, I should have just switched to the Procure. Come on, orbit the Procure. I think I was more worried. I expected it to be bait, so I was being more cautious, but... And there's a Caracal. Had I got onto the Crewer first, and got my newts on him and got my point on him, I would have killed him. But I'm not close enough to point him. He's going to get away. I don't know what I'm doing. And now he's running the opposite direction. So I messed up there. I could have killed the Crewer. So this is bad execution. I expected it to be more of a trap than it was. So now the best move for me would be to go back in. Local's still manageable. Go back in and put DPS on the Caracal. I should have DPS on the Caracal right now. You'd see he was killing my drones, I think. The skiff was killing my drones with his drones. What am I doing? I don't know what it was. Something was scaring me about that. Well, evidently I just had a fight with him somewhere. Yeah, I'm not really sure about that one. That was terrible execution on my part. I did not have enough balls there. There was not enough aggression. I should have definitely went after that Crewer. He was no threat to me. I can out-newt him all day. So I should have went after the Crewer, and it had the Caracal come in. No worries. I would have nuked the Caracal as well. You can see in local here how mad these guys were at me. This is just a sample, and you'll see it in a lot of the videos from this pocket. This is still that same pocket in Syndicate, and you'll see just how upset they were at me and how much smack they talked. And they made a mailing list and like mailed insults about me because they hated me so much. And every time they did, it just made me feel good because I knew that the Pilgrim was working. So now I've jumped into this system GRNJ, and a belt right off the gate. Boom. Procure just sitting there right next to a mobile tractor unit. And you'd be surprised at how many times this happened. I'd have to say this happened at least 5 times, where I would jump into this system GRNJ, and I would find someone in a belt within scan of the gate. And it would usually be something like a Drake or a Hurricane, and they'd be ratting. But I think it was 2 separate times I got procures that were just sitting here, half AFK, mining away without a care in the world. So even on a procure, you want to keep your range. I got in close for a second there because I was charging to get the point, but he's not even paying attention. I don't even think he's noticed I'm killing him yet. I lost point for a second, had to overload because I went too far, and now my micro warp drive's off, so I'm not closing back in on him as fast as I should. I basically overshot. I don't need a second newt. And with the Procure, they can sometimes have a little bit of a tank, so you got to wear through that. But then it's another easy kill. From memory, I don't remember anything going wrong on this one. It's more of just what I did every night in this pocket. Sometimes I'd have the fights with the combat ships. Sometimes I'd be baited. Sometimes they would camp me. Most of the times they would camp me. But every night I was killing their miners, killing their haulers, killing their ratters, every single night. And even when I wasn't killing their stuff, if I was watching TV or working on the website, or even if I had gone to the store or something, I would just stay logged in, cloaked in their system. And I would also have my alt, which they were scared of as well, because sometimes he would Black Ops drop them. So I'd have my alt in one system and me in the other, and completely shut down 2 of their systems for like 8 hours straight or something like that. So they had very good reason to hate me. And being a Procure is taking forever. And this armor, well, I'm on the shield fit now. He must have a lot of hit points. The shield fit has 100 more DPS than the armor fit. We just had +1 to local, so that's why I'm paying more attention to my directional. There's a couple things you want to watch very closely when you're in the middle of a PvP fight. Even though it's not really a fight. Whenever you're focused on combat, you need to be watching local for any moves. You can highlight all the people in local so that you can see it better. Sometimes that helps. And you also need to be watching your overview and your directional. So I see a Merlin. That's no threat whatsoever. I hope it comes. I doubt it will. And I start attacking the tractor unit. If you have time, it's best to kill these tractor units and the wrecks. Like I said, Scorched Earth. You're going to get a kill mail for the tractor unit, which is nice. And also the tractor unit's going to drop some of its loot. So after you kill it, you're going to be able to go in there and pick up some of the stuff in it. And I have found many times decent loot, like 20 mil or something like that. So now we have a Tau War as well. Merlin jumped out. I think that they were considering fighting, like they were coming to this guy's aid. And then they said, well, no, it's just the 2 of us. We're not stupid. And they left. They're gone. They're gone. So, skip forward. Tractor units take a while to kill. So whenever you're on the field, just stay vigilant. Don't let your guard down. If you get lazy, you die. And try to spare you having to watch me killing all this, so I'm just going to keep fast forwarding. Die, tractor unit. Why won't you die? And there he goes. Boom. Alright, now let's see what we got for loot, and then I believe that's the last video. So that's 8 million drop on the tractor unit. Not too bad. It's kind of funny. He got the Tech 2 drones. I think when he, maybe when the other ship died, the tractor unit pulled in his drones. I don't think they do that. It must have looted a wreck from somebody who had drones in their cargo hold. Or I bet he had drones in his cargo hold. That's what happened. And the tractor unit looted the wreck from the procurer. There we go. Yep, there's the Hornets right there. Okay, so 2 small kills, like 25 milli total. Not bad, and most importantly, it's going to piss them off. I'm pretty sure that's the end of the video. Let's just make sure, because the way I'm having to do these videos, because I've got so much footage from the Pilgrim, is I'm having to push some of them together into long videos like this one. You see me saying scorched earth there as I blow up the wrecks. And in others, I'm doing just one video at a time. So I'm doing different parts at different times. That was the video. Do not ever consider yourself above killing miners, because as you saw, and more than this even shows, a lot of times I'll kill Sinos and stuff, and I don't show myself killing the Sinos, but then I do show myself in the fight that ensues afterwards. So just kill Sinos, kill haulers, kill miners, because it's going to get you more of the good fights that you're actually looking for.